Biographical Notice of the Thebaid, or The Brothers at War, by Jean Racine, translated by Robert Bruce Boswell. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Biographical Notice, read by Michael Maggs. The reign of Louis XIV in France, like the age of Pericles at ancient Athens, was remarkable for literary excellence, no less than for military achievements. In dramatic poetry, the names of Corneille, Moliere, and Racine are not unworthy of comparison with those of Sophocles, Aristophanes, and Euripides. Like Euripides, Racine confined himself almost exclusively to tragedy. But as the former has left one satiric drama, The Cyclops, as evidence of his capacity for sustained humour, so the latter has given us Les Plaideurs as his sole contribution to the comic muse. In their distinguishing characteristics as authors, the two poets have points of resemblance. In both alike, tenderness and sweetness are more conspicuous than sublimity and force. In each writer there is a curiosa felicitas of language that confers the stamp of originality upon the style rather than on the thoughts, which would often appear tame and commonplace if expressed in less fittingly chosen terms. This feature renders the task of a translator an especially difficult one, and demands the constant indulgence of a reader who has learned to appreciate those graces of diction which no foreign language can precisely imitate. In Racine, as in Euripides, the play of contending emotions is more prominently presented than sensational incidents of horror and bloodshed. And another common trait is the analytical and argumentative vein, which occupies so large a space as often to tax the patience of the reader, and still more the spectator, who requires the constant stimulus of a brisk and sparkling dialogue. Racine's strict adherence to the unities of action, time, and place, as prescribed by Aristotle and enforced by the critical authority of Boileau. Footnote 1. As understood by the classical school of French dramatists, these rules prescribe observance of the following conditions. 1. Unity of action, or the predominance of one main plot. 2. Unity of time, which limits the action to the course of a single day. 3. Unity of place. End of footnote. Is felt by an Englishman accustomed to the unlicensed freedom of our own Elizabethan dramatists as a needless restriction, which tends to render the action monotonous. But this, if it is to be regarded as a defect, is one from which the French stage has been slow to emancipate itself, and the genius of Racine was of such a kind as to conform itself to such shackles con amore, far more so than that of Corneille or Voltaire. The simplicity of plot in most of Racine's plays enables him to exert his peculiar excellence, the skill with which he can, by constant shifting the point of view, introduce a succession of novel effects with few materials. Not that but this simplicity is, in some cases, carried too far for a drama intended for representation on the stage, as for instance in Berenice, where the changes are rung with wearisome iteration on the varying tones of disappointed love, whereas the tangled web of passion in such a play as Andromaque gives much greater scope for sustaining the attention with growing interest to the end. Born on or about December 20
Sample complete. Ready to continue?